Here we go into an especially hot weekend. The National Weather Service has issued its only third ever heat advisory for Denver based on potentially record-breaking highs and lows that are still high.
This is the kind of heat that the Front Range doesn't see that often. That kind of heat has the potential to be dangerous for some of us. So let's get to Danielle with the forecast for this weekend. How hot are we talking?
Ooh, upper 90s into the triple digits, you guys, both Saturday and Sunday. I do have a little relief on the way, but it's going to be a solid 48 hours of extreme heat here across the Front Range and the far northeastern plains. Here is the area that's under the heat advisory, of course, Denver included, all the way up along I-76 for temperatures upwards of 103 degrees. Could be some record-breaking temperatures coming our way too. Saturday, the current record here in Denver, 98. It's at 102 on Sunday, and we are going to be close both days. Tonight on your Friday evening, temperatures still hovering in the 80s here for the metro area, 60s around Black Hawk through Nederland. We had a couple of thunderstorms cruising across the foothills, putting down some gusty winds, even some small hail out there. But tonight, everything is shifting off to the south and to the east. We'll be watching those storms moving out and gearing up for a sizzling hot weekend to come. The good news is early next week, a cool off comes our way, plus a few storms. I'll be tracking all that in about 10 minutes.
Denver and Aurora are both opening up extra places for people to cool off this weekend. Aurora is directing people to libraries on Saturday and the Aurora Day Resource Center on Sunday. Denver will open all of its rec centers as cooling stations. They will be completely free to get in. The rec centers will only be open during their regular hours. We have more details about some other places people can go to cool off this weekend at 9news.com. This scorching hot weekend would be a perfect time to plant yourself by a pool. But finding a pool that's open with a full slate of lifeguards is hard to do this summer. This week, the state started giving out grant money to help pools hire more folks. Here's 9 News reporter Jennifer Meckles.
After a hot July afternoon,
let's just go ahead and get chairs and umbrellas.
Storms closed down Glennon Heights Pool in Lakewood a little early Friday night. Pool manager Ty Roberts is part of the team keeping this place open for business this summer.
We're struggling for some weekend shifts, but we have some good guards that are able to step up and bring the team up and cover those shifts.
Lakewood is one of dozens of municipalities that just got grant money from the state to try and recruit and retain more lifeguards this summer. The pool's Special Initiative 2022 offers up to $25,000.
We did receive the full $25,000.
The city of Aurora is still deciding how exactly to use their money. All 10 of the city's pools are open, but often with modified hours, and they still have dozens of lifeguard openings.
But some of the ideas that we're kind of tossing around for using the grant funding goes to, again, those incentives for not only new hires, but also our retaining and retention of our current lifeguards.
Cities plan to use the money for things like higher pay for lifeguards, recruitment bonuses, and retention bonuses.
And so not only do we already have the dip in our operations starting in August, right? We go to just weekends only through Labor Day because of school. But again, we have those indoor pools as well.
We have a new referral program where if you refer a lifeguard and they get hired, then you get $250. And if that guard works for 3 months, then they get a $250 bonus. Oh yeah, can you turn off the lights? It's this one, I believe. If not that one, it's that one.
Ty had 5 on shift Friday afternoon, enough for a full day at the pool, until Mother Nature decided to cut the day short.
That the pool's special initiative allowed 16 and 17-year-olds to also work overtime without a special waiver, and that pools could offer a $1,000 stipend for required training. Alex.
Yeah, it seems like it's great that this is happening, but kind of late, right? Summer's half over.
I mean, yeah, it is a little late. I talked to one city, Aurora, who told me that, you know, better something than nothing, but it is a little probably late to see a huge impact this season. However, a lot of pools, remember, open year round. So they do see the benefit, at least in the back half of the year, getting some lifeguards on for that. So
totally. All right. Sounds good. Jenny, thank you.
President Biden signed an executive order on abortion access today, 2 weeks after the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. The president's order cannot give people in conservative states access to abortion. What it can do is tell the Department of Health and Human Services to expand access to emergency contraception by mail. The office of Colorado's Democratic Attorney General Phil Weiser told me today they think a few sections of Biden's executive order could make an impact here in Colorado. There's the plan for free legal services for women and providers who face charges in other states. And also, the order pursues rules protecting patient privacy. The executive order, in addition, offers protection for abortion clinics facing threats of violence. In the meantime, restrictions are starting in more states. A judge in Louisiana just cleared the way for that state to enforce its ban on nearly all abortions. This is one of several court battles over states' trigger laws that followed the end of Roe. Abortion clinics in Louisiana are now canceling appointments that were scheduled for tomorrow.
The world is reeling after the assassination of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. The country's longest-serving prime minister was shot in the back with a homemade gun. Abe was giving a speech at a campaign event when the shooting happened. He died at a hospital. Police arrested the suspected shooter immediately after the shooting. Gun violence is rare in Japan. Last year, there were only 10 shootings and 1 gun-related death in the entire country. The country has strict limits on just who can own guns. Police say the shooter seemed to work around those rules by building his own weapon at home. Investigators have not shared a motive for this attack.
When the Marshall Fire burned more than 1,000 homes, it also took out more than a century of the town of Superior's history. 9 News reporter Luis De Leon shows us the effort to rebuild that town's museum.
Taking it in can take a lot out of you.
It's right there.
For Larry Dorsey
Oh, it's right. Yeah.
and Wally Waligorski,
That's 24 years gone.
they still try to see what's left.
Gee whiz, that's the first time I've noticed those.
Both with Superior's Historical Commission,
What do you think that metal framework is, Wally?
they stand over what once was Superior's History Museum, lost in the Marshall Fire.
Well, the building itself was an artifact. It was built, we think, around 1908.
The building was home to some of the town's miners back then.
So we were able to bring it back and set up each room. One was an education room, for example. We even had an old baseball jersey, a typical kitchen table from that time that was dated back to the 1890s with cream separator.
Oh, yes.
No, it's right up there.
It was a link to the past, but it was also a link with the people from the era.
Later this month, they say debris removal will finally happen.
I don't know, the sink sitting up over there.
Details still need to be worked out, but the hope is to build a replica of the building in the very same spot.
It was a small town of coal miners and farmers. It didn't have a lot of preservation before this. The prospect of all the old houses replaced by new houses is going to be a whole different world, and that link is gone.
A long road ahead, but with hope to keep a town's history going.
We have to believe in what we're doing and believe we're going to make it work.
Luis De Leon, 9 News.
So in the meantime, the museum will temporarily move to another historic home a few blocks away, while the commission works to rebuild its inventory of historical items. They're asking people who might have generations of history in the town of Superior to share some of their family's items that could be put on display.